National Electrical Code, or NEC, addresses temporary power distribution systems in Section 590.3b and temporary wiring in Section 590.4. Section 520.5 addresses locations and site from occupiable spaces. While the NEC does not have a specific standard for the exact setup of temporary power boxes, several guidelines should be followed to ensure safety. Firstly, the enclosure. The temporary power box should be enclosed in a sturdy, weatherproof material. Acceptable materials include metal or plastic. Secondly, all openings. All openings in the temporary power box should be covered with a weatherproof cover or tarpaulin to prevent moisture from entering. Thirdly, grounding. The temporary power box must be grounded in accordance with NEC requirements to minimize the risk of electrical shock. Fourthly, receptacles. Receptacles used with the temporary power box should be ground fault circuit interrupter, or GFCI, protected and equipped with weatherproof covers. Fifthly, wiring. The wiring used within the temporary power box must be properly sized and insulated for the intended use to prevent overheating and potential fire hazards. Sixthly, location. The temporary power box should be located in a dry, well-ventilated area, away from standing water and other hazards. Certain materials should be avoided in constructing or using temporary power boxes. A wooden box is not recommended for temporary power boxes because it is not weatherproof and can pose a fire hazard. Tar paper is not a suitable material for covering electrical outlets, as it can tear easily and allow moisture to enter the box. Temporary power boxes should never be located near standing water, as this creates a significant electrical hazard. If a temporary power box is constructed of wood covered in tar paper, or near standing water, it poses a significant safety risk and is not up to code. It is recommended that a qualified electrician inspect such a box. The electrician can replace it with a properly installed and weatherproof temporary power box that meets NEC standards. To further clarify the NEC requirements for temporary power, consider the following points. Firstly, grounding and bonding. Section 250 covers grounding and bonding requirements. Proper grounding ensures a low impedance path for fault current, which facilitates the operation of overcurrent protective devices like circuit breakers or fuses. Bonding connects non-current carrying metal parts to create an electrically conductive path, minimizing voltage differences and reducing shock hazards. Secondly, overcurrent protection. Article 240 of the NEC deals with overcurrent protection. Temporary power systems must have appropriate overcurrent protection, such as circuit breakers or fuses, to protect against overloads and short circuits. The size of the overcurrent protection device should be coordinated with the ampacity of the conductors it protects. Thirdly, conductor ampacity. Conductors must be sized according to their ampacity, as specified in Article 310. Ampacity is the current carrying capacity of a conductor, and it depends on factors like the conductor's material, size, insulation type, and ambient temperature. Using undersized conductors can lead to overheating, insulation damage, and fire hazards. Fourthly, GFCI protection. Ground fault circuit interrupter, or GFCI, protection is crucial for temporary power systems, especially in damp or wet locations. GFCIs detect ground faults, which occur when current leaks to ground through an unintended path. GFCIs quickly interrupt the circuit when a ground fault is detected, minimizing the risk of electrical shock. The NEC requires GFCI protection for receptacles in certain locations, such as construction sites and wet areas. Fifthly, weatherproof enclosures. Section 312 addresses enclosures for electrical equipment. Enclosures must be suitable for the environment in which they are installed. For temporary power systems, weatherproof enclosures are essential to protect against rain, snow, and other environmental factors. Weatherproof enclosures are designed to prevent water from entering and damaging electrical components. Sixthly, cable and cord usage. Chapter 4 covers requirements for cables on flexible cords. Temporary power systems often rely on flexible cords to provide power to equipment. Flexible cords must be approved for the intended use and properly supported to prevent strain on connections. Damaged or frayed cords should be replaced immediately to avoid shock hazards. Seventhly, working space. Section 110.26 specifies requirements for working space around electrical equipment. Adequate working space is essential for safe access and maintenance. Clearances must be maintained around temporary power boxes to allow electricians to perform inspections and repairs safely. Eighthly, identification and labeling. All components of a temporary power system should be clearly identified and labeled. This includes circuit breakers, receptacles, and cables. Proper labeling helps prevent confusion and ensures that workers can easily identify the correct components. Ninthly, inspection and maintenance. Temporary power systems should be regularly inspected and maintained to ensure they are in good working condition. Inspection should include checking for damaged cords, loose connections, and proper grounding. Any issues should be addressed promptly to prevent accidents. Tenthly, training and awareness. Workers who use temporary power systems should be properly trained on safe work practices. Training should cover topics like grounding, GFCI protection, and proper use of extension cords. Awareness of potential hazards is crucial for preventing electrical accidents. Considering specific components commonly used in temporary power setups. Firstly, portable power outlets. These are pre-wired assemblies that include multiple receptacles and overcurrent protection. They are designed for easy transport and quick setup on job sites. Portable power outlets should comply with UL 1640 standards for portable power distribution equipment. Secondly, extension cords. Extension cords are used to extend power from a temporary power box to equipment. Heavy-duty extension cords with 3-wire grounding are recommended for construction sites. Extension cords should be inspected regularly for damage and replaced if necessary. Thirdly, cord reels. Cord reels are used to manage and store extension cords. They help prevent tripping hazards and keep cords organized. Cord reels should be equipped with thermal overload protection to prevent overheating. Fourthly, ground fault circuit interrupters or GFCIs. GFCIs are essential for protecting workers from electrical shock. They should be installed in all temporary power circuits that serve receptacles in wet or damp locations. Fifthly, temporary lighting. Temporary lighting is used to provide illumination in construction areas. String lights, floodlights, and work lights are common types of temporary lighting. Temporary lighting should be weatherproof and protected from damage. Sixthly, generators. Generators are used to provide temporary power in areas where utility power is not available. Generators should be properly grounded and equipped with GFCI protection. The generator's output voltage and frequency should match the requirements of the equipment being powered. Seventhly, transfer switches. Transfer switches are used to switch between utility power and generator power. They prevent backfeeding of generator power into the utility grid, which can be dangerous. Transfer switches should be installed by a qualified electrician. Eighthly, distribution panels. Distribution panels are used to distribute power from a generator or utility source to multiple circuits. They should be properly grounded and equipped with overcurrent protection for each circuit. Ninthly, cable protectors. Cable protectors are used to protect cables and cords from damage in high traffic areas. They prevent tripping hazards and extend the life of cables. Tenthly, weatherproof connectors. Weatherproof connectors are used to connect cables and cords in wet or damp locations. They provide a watertight seal to prevent moisture from entering the connection. Common mistakes to avoid when setting up temporary power include: firstly, using undersized conductors. Undersized conductors can overheat and cause a fire. Always use conductors that are sized according to the ampacity requirements of the circuit. Secondly, neglecting grounding. Proper grounding is essential for preventing electrical shock. Always ground temporary power systems in accordance with NEC requirements. Thirdly, failing to provide GFCI protection. GFCI protection is required for receptacles in wet or damp locations. Failing to provide GFCI protection can increase the risk of electrical shock. Fourthly, using damaged or frayed cords. Damaged or frayed cords can be dangerous and should be replaced immediately. Inspect cords regularly for damage. Fifthly, overloading circuits. Overloading circuits can cause overcurrent protection devices to trip, interrupting power. Avoid overloading circuits by ensuring that the total load on the circuit does not exceed the ampacity of the conductors. Sixthly, improper use of extension cords. Extension cords should be used only for temporary power applications. Do not use extension cords as a substitute for permanent wiring. Seventhly, ignoring working space requirements. Adequate working space is essential for safe access and maintenance. Maintain clear clearances around temporary power boxes. Eighthly, lack of identification and labeling. All components of a temporary power system should be clearly identified and labeled. This helps prevent confusion and ensures that workers can easily identify the correct components. Ninthly, inadequate inspection and maintenance. Temporary power systems should be regularly inspected and maintained to ensure they are in good working condition. Any issues should be addressed promptly to prevent accidents. Tenthly, insufficient training and awareness. Workers who use temporary power systems should be properly trained on safe work practices. Awareness of potential hazards is crucial for preventing electrical accidents. Furthermore, consider specific NEC articles related to temporary wiring. Article 590 covers temporary installations. This article provides requirements for temporary electrical power and lighting installations. It addresses issues such as grounding, GFCI protection, and overcurrent protection. Article 305 covers temporary electrical power and lighting installations for construction, demolition, remodeling, and similar activities. This article provides specific requirements for temporary wiring on construction sites. Article 527 covers temporary wiring for carnivals, circuses, fairs, and similar events. This article provides requirements for temporary electrical systems used at these types of events. Also, consider relevant standards from other organizations. The Occupational Safety and Health Administration, or OSHA, has regulations for temporary electrical power and lighting installations. OSHA standards require employers to provide a safe working environment for their employees. The National Fire Protection Association, or NFPA, publishes standards related to electrical safety, including NFPA 70E, which covers electrical safety in the workplace. UL, or Underwriters Laboratories, develops standards for electrical products, including temporary power equipment. UL-listed products have been tested and certified to meet safety standards. Regarding the specific issue of temporary power boxes near standing water, it is essential to emphasize the extreme danger. Water is an excellent conductor of electricity, and the presence of standing water near a temporary power box creates a high risk of electrical shock. The NEC prohibits locating electrical equipment in areas where it could be exposed to water or other liquids. If a temporary power box is located near standing water, it should be immediately moved to a dry location. If it is not possible to move the box, measures should be taken to prevent water from entering the box. This may involve using a weatherproof enclosure or covering the box with a tarpaulin. In addition to the hazards associated with standing water, temporary power boxes can also pose other risks. Damaged or frayed cords can create a shock hazard. Overloaded circuits can cause overcurrent protection devices to trip, interrupting power. Improper grounding can increase the risk of electrical shock. To minimize these risks, it is essential to follow safe work practices when working with temporary power systems. This includes inspecting cords regularly for damage, avoiding overloading circuits, and ensuring proper grounding. Workers should also be trained on the hazards associated with temporary power and how to avoid them. When setting up a temporary power system, it is important to consider the specific needs of the job. The type of equipment being powered, the location of the job site, and the environmental conditions all need to be taken into account. For example, a construction site may require a more robust temporary power system than a small remodeling project. A job site in a wet or damp location will require more stringent GFCI protection than a dry location. It is also important to consider the potential for changes in the job site. As the job progresses, the temporary power system may need to be modified to accommodate new equipment or changing conditions. It is important to have a flexible system that can be easily adapted to meet the changing needs of the job. Regular inspections and maintenance are essential for keeping temporary power systems safe and reliable. Inspections should include checking for damaged cords, loose connections, and proper grounding. Any issues should be addressed promptly to prevent accidents. Maintenance should include cleaning the equipment and replacing any worn or damaged parts. It is also important to keep records of all inspections and maintenance. These records can be helpful for identifying potential problems and tracking the performance of the system over time. In addition to following safe work practices and conducting regular inspections and maintenance, it is also important to use high-quality temporary power equipment. Cheap or poorly made equipment may not meet safety standards and can be more prone to failure. It is important to choose equipment that is designed for the intended use and that is UL listed or otherwise certified to meet safety standards. Finally, it is important to remember that temporary power systems are just that, temporary. They are not intended to be a substitute for permanent wiring. When the job is complete, the temporary power system should be removed and the permanent wiring should be installed. This will ensure that the electrical system is safe and reliable for the long term. By following these guidelines, you can help ensure that temporary power systems are used safely and effectively. This will help to protect workers from electrical hazards and to keep job sites running smoothly.